And Aiden, I don't know if you've had a chance to kind of go through and look at some of these while I was talking. And I'll give you the best way that you want to kind of answer these. And as you go through these, I'll at least mark these as we're doing these live. So I'll let you.
Perfect. I'll hop into it. Absolutely. So first one from Clayton: use case, finance department, cash collections. Can we reasonably predict at the time of raising an invoice when the client is most likely to pay, i.e. the client will pay 30, 60, 90, 120, over 120 plus days, right? That is a perfect example of a regression algorithm. So if I have the data from previous customers, from previous invoices of, some demographic properties, some properties of the loan itself, of the invoice itself, and when historically a client has paid, then I get new clients, and the model will find this client with similar properties to the historical ones and make a prediction based off of that. So as long as I have my historical data in terms of, clients, their general properties, whatever I can feed it, because this is another important point, is I don't have to be worried about giving the model too much information. It'll weed out what's important and what's not. And so whatever I give it, it'll determine what factors are important in determining how long that client will take to pay back the invoice, and then spit out a prediction. You use the example of 30, 60, 90, 120, 120 plus. If you are binning it like that into categories, that would then become categorical and become a classification problem. But that's just a matter of basically how you want to present it. So either way, either a classification or regression model would support that perfectly. And that's an excellent use case. So thank you, Clayton. That's awesome. Devram says, what are the processing capabilities the client needs to purchase a service for these analyses? What are the data size limitations, if any? That's a super excellent question. All of the underlying models on all those operators modules are very lightweight. Again, the focus is really on lightweight performance and explainability. Something like a big neural network under the hood wouldn't make sense, both from a performance perspective, but also it's really a black box. So you wouldn't be able to do what Porter had shown and really dive in and understand, what factors are contributing to this model's output. So they're all very lightweight. Anything that WebFOCUS can handle, these machine learning functions can handle as well. Of course, I was using like a small 50K, 100K sample that trained in about a minute. If you're talking about millions, it'll take a little bit longer, but it's something that absolutely these functions can handle. Can this model build? This is from Saurabh. Can this build model using runtime data, maybe like last 1 hour of data? Absolutely. That's another great use case. If you're feeding in hourly data, I use the example of maybe you want to, reforecast your demand every week. That could be a much shorter interval. That could be every day. That could be every hour. I'm just going to schedule my flow that's reading in that saved model for, again, let's say every hour, get a new prediction, and then the target it writes to is hooked up to a dashboard, update all the visualizations automatically. So if I'm, a manager looking at the dashboard every hour, I'll check it, it'll have a new prediction. So it's absolutely something you can set up, again, using the power that was already there in WebFOCUS and the data flow views. And then similar kind of question from Dharmendra is, can this use data from API responses without a database? Absolutely. Again, any capability that was in WebFOCUS around how it works with data is directly applicable to ML functions. That's all abstracted. So if I'm not looking to read from a database, if I'm looking to read from an API, I bring it into the flow. Again, from the flow's perspective, it's all abstracted. So it's just a node there that the model's feeding from. It doesn't care what source it's coming from. And it can write back to an API as well, right? So if you're writing back to a different application instead of a master file, that's all completely possible as well. And then last one from Aniket, another use case in telecom, finding the probability of customers who are at risk of churn, and then maybe incorporating another element of speech and sentiment data, right? Maybe from social media, something like that. So the question is really, does WebFOCUS support NLP? Can it handle such data or pre-processing, or do we need to modify that first? That's a really interesting one. There are lots of NLP, NLQ capabilities in WebFOCUS around querying the data. And then certainly from polling sentiment data from different sources, something like Twitter, there's adapters to do that directly. So if I am looking, the example I picked is Twitter, there's an adapter to pull in through the Twitter API, maybe whatever, once an hour, and then get that data and score it. In terms of getting a sentiment analysis score, that would be something that you would need to do in Python. That's actually a great use case that I think we're working on establishing a pre-built operator for. But if you're just looking at based off the data of the Twitter activity itself, that's something you could run a classification algorithm against. But in terms of NLP, the sentiment analysis itself, that would need to be done and pre-processed first, and then fed into maybe a classification model to really determine if they're at risk of churn or not. But you bring up a great point. NLP is a really hot topic. That's definitely an area we're looking at expanding our pre-built algorithms into. I think that's all the questions on mine. I know there's one more from Saurabh, I think for you, Porter, the very start.
There's does the resize image based on favicon size? I don't actually know. So you want to follow up with whoever you have contact information for, if it's Tim, or anyone in the Amtex team, shoot them an email and I'll loop in the product team. We'll get you an answer.
Yeah, Porter, I'll start that for you and get you looped in on that. Cool. We'll have their email address with the registrations, I would think.
Yeah, sounds great.
Yep. And both guys, appreciate it. And if there's more questions, we can hang on for a little bit longer. Aiden, I appreciate you going live on this. I don't think anybody understands what a big deal it is to have some of those things answered live, especially on the spot. That's awesome. And appreciate you being able to do that. So any other questions? I know we're actually a little bit earlier than I thought we would be, given all the things we had to cover. More than glad. And if somebody would rather come on and ask the question live, I think we can able you to talk versus having to type it into the Q&A. Feel free to raise your hand or just do whatever, and we're more than glad to make it where you can talk back to us. All right. Douglas, thanks for your comment. All right, guys, it's quiet on here. Honestly, it's a little bit quieter than I expected to be, given everything that was shown. I think a lot of you guys are probably still trying to digest that. It's awesome information. Amtex and I appreciate all the cooperation and work with Porter and Aiden and the rest of the group that has been involved in this. Be able to pull this together and just being able to kind of help some of our people that we have attending these see some of the new things. It's very exciting to see the direction that IBI is taking and really some of the exciting things that they have. I hope that you guys take us up on the challenge. Again, we want to be able to not only show some really cool stuff, but to start tying this stuff back to places within your organization, within the things that you're doing that can make a difference for you guys. And so I think the challenge, or if there's something else that doesn't fit that you guys want to talk to us about, we're more than glad to have that conversation and bring Aiden or Porter or both of them back in on that conversation, however works best, and help you guys out. That's our goal with these. It's not just to have some things to have an event and to get registrations, but we really want to be able to have conversations and help you guys move forward with the products, with all the cool stuff that's going on in it, and help you guys, as the challenge says, kind of make you guys be the champions for all things data analytics and data management and within your organization. And we love that challenge ourselves. So I'm super excited to do that. So unless there's any more questions, then I will say thanks again for everybody who was here. It was a good crowd, and look forward to the next one. Probably, I think these have been coming up every 2 or 3 months. So hopefully next 2 or 3 months. If again, you have any suggestions on topics that you guys would like to see for that, please share that with us. We're always looking for feedback from you guys on things that you guys want to hear, something within the product that you'd like to see us focus on, some type of subject that means something to you in your organization, whatever that is. I'm more than glad to hear that. Would love to hear that, actually. With that said, appreciate everybody joining and look forward to seeing you guys again in a couple more months. Thanks, guys.